Hey everyone! I read a lot of Reddit so you don't have to. And today I've got some stories that actually made me stop scrolling. Subscribe for more, and let's go. My ex, 29-year-old male, won't accept our breakup. Now literally everyone around me thinks we're still together, and I don't know how to make it stop. Some stories twist reality slowly. This one doesn't break it all at once. It cracks gradually until the person living inside starts wondering if they're losing their mind. The thing about reality is that when it starts to crack, it cracks silently. Nobody notices at first. They just keep living like everything is normal. And the person in the center of it all is the only one who can feel the ground shifting beneath their feet. My ex and I were together for 2 years. 7 months ago, I ended it clearly. Told him I wasn't happy, didn't see a future, we agreed on no contact. For 2 months, complete silence. Then my mom called asking how things were going with him. Casual, like he was still in my life. I corrected her. Sarah mentioned his new job in passing. My coworkers referred to him in present tense. My dad, strangers, people I barely knew, they all talked about him like the relationship was still active. Every time I corrected someone, they looked confused. Like I'd said something illogical. Like I was the unreliable one. I started questioning myself. Had I actually broken up with him? Did I dream it? That's when I saw him at the grocery store. I was in the produce section when someone grabbed my arm from behind. It was him. He pulled me into a hug and called me babe, that familiar term. He acted like we were still together, like nothing had changed, like the last 7 months had never happened. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. And that's where the nightmare started. Because what OP discovered about what her ex had done and who he'd involved would become far more disturbing than a simple refusal to accept a breakup. The grocery store encounter wasn't a one-off. It was just the beginning of something much worse. Within days, the impossible started happening everywhere, like someone had reached into everyone's head and completely rewritten the narrative. It spread faster than I could possibly keep track. Sarah texted about grabbing coffee and mentioned his new job casually. How did she know? We hadn't talked about him in months. When I asked directly, she got confused, like I was weird for questioning it. He mentioned it when he stopped by, she said. The more she explained, the more confused she got that I was upset. Like visiting her apartment was something I should already know. My coworkers started too. Marcus asked how things were going with him, like we were still a pair. Jenny mentioned his name like she was tracking his life. When I said we broke up 7 months ago, they both went quiet. Not angry, confused, like I'd said something that didn't make sense. Even my dad called asking how he was doing. My father barely knew him. When I reminded him we broke up 7 months ago, there was just silence. Uncomfortable, confused, like what I was saying didn't compute. Strangers, too. People I'd mentioned him to once. They'd reference him in present tense like they were tracking his life. Every time I corrected someone, I got that same look. That patient, confused look that made me feel like maybe I was the problem in the equation. So I started keeping track of it all. Every time someone mentioned him, every confused look when I corrected them, every moment that just didn't add up. The pattern was far too consistent to be coincidence. Everyone was reading from the same script, and I couldn't see what the words actually said. When OP finally confronted Sarah directly, the mask slipped. She admitted everything. Months ago, right around when the radio silence was ending, he showed up at her apartment, not to see me, just to see her. He told her I was going through something, that I didn't understand my own heart, that what I was saying wasn't what I really meant. He said if she was truly my friend, she would help me see that this breakup was just panic. He was so gentle about it, so concerned. He made it sound like he was the only one who truly understood what I was actually feeling, and she believed him. Because he came in sideways. He didn't say, "Your friend is lying." He said, "I'm worried about her. I care about her too much to let her make this mistake." He positioned himself as the ally, the one with real insight, the one with her best interests at heart. Suddenly, mentioning his new job like we were still together, asking me how we were doing, it wasn't her being delusional. It was her doing what she thought was compassionate. That's when I understood what was actually happening. The comment section lit up. People saw exactly what was happening here. This is one of the most unsettling relationship things I've ever read because there's no single abusive moment. He's systematically rewritten your entire reality and made you the problem in everyone else's mind. That's textbook psychological abuse, and I'm genuinely afraid for you. This level of disconnect from shared reality could suggest a delusional disorder, but that doesn't make him less dangerous. People with genuine delusions can still be manipulative and controlling. Either way, you need professional intervention. When you confronted him on the phone, did he actually deny the breakup happened, or did he just reframe what you meant by it? He reframed it. He kept saying, "I know you said you needed space," when I was explicit that it was completely over. Every time I tried to be clear, he'd twist it into something that fit his narrative. And his voice was so calm and reasonable the entire time. Like he was the stable one and I was the hysterical one. That's what made it effective. I started doubting my own memory of the conversation. OP came back with an update. I had to cut off everyone, and I think I made a massive mistake. I don't even know where to start. I called him that night, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He didn't fight me. He didn't plead or try to convince me we were still together. He just spoke. Calmly. Like I was the confused one, and he was watching over me with this patient concern. I know you're confused right now. You've been going through something, and that's okay. I've been trying to help. Every word felt gentle. Every word felt like a knife. He'd gone to Sarah and told her I was unstable. He'd told my coworker I was having a crisis. He'd whispered to my dad that I didn't understand what I wanted. He had a different story for every person, tailored perfectly so that he was always the steady one. The concerned boyfriend watching his girlfriend fall apart. The caring one. And when I told him I'd broken up with him, he said, "No, you're confused about that too, but I'm here." I felt sick. I cut off Sarah. I cut off 3 others. I told them I couldn't trust them. But part of me is still wondering if I'm the delusional one. The comments hit different once you saw what he'd actually done. Document everything. Call a lawyer. Get a restraining order. Record all calls if legal in your state. This is deliberate, systematic manipulation, and it will escalate if you don't get legal protection now. My ex did this, but less extreme. He told friends we were on a break, and when I corrected them, he'd act like I was confused and unstable. It took me 3 years to see it as abuse. Please get help immediately. The on a break reframing is so common because it gives plausible deniability. Breaks can end. Breakups can theoretically be revisited. It's a narrative loophole that lets someone stay emotionally married while technically acknowledging something happened. This isn't accidental, it's calculated. The isolation of being gaslit by everyone around you is its own kind of horror. So OP started documenting everything obsessively. Timestamps, names, the exact wording of each person talking about him, like he was still in the picture, like the breakup never happened. But documentation can't change reality if no one else sees the reality you're living. Weeks passed, radio silence from him, and somehow that silence became the scariest part. No relief, just the growing horror that maybe OP was the problem all along. I had to cut off everyone, and I think I made a massive mistake. I don't know how long I can keep doing this. I've documented everything, every conversation, every moment someone mentioned him like we're still together. Every time I corrected someone and watched confusion wash over their face, like I'd said something that didn't make sense. But the documentation doesn't matter if nobody believes the reality I'm living. The silence from him should feel like relief. It doesn't. It feels like evidence, like proof I'm losing my mind. Because if he's not contacting me, if he's not calling or texting or showing up, then maybe I imagined the whole pattern. Maybe the breakup was a dream. Maybe I'm the delusional one, and he's the stable one everyone keeps defending. My friends are distant now. They think I'm being cruel, rejecting their help, pushing away people who only want the best for me. Sarah won't return calls. My mom keeps asking if I'm okay, if I need therapy, if I'm going through something. My dad stopped asking entirely. It's like I'm surrounded but completely isolated. Everyone around me believes a different reality than the one I'm living. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe they're right. Maybe I did dream the breakup. Maybe I'm the one who's sick. The comments on this one didn't mince words. They saw exactly what OP was describing, the pattern. The scariest thing here is he's isolated you from your support system without a single explicit threat or act of violence. Your friends are now defending him against you. That's genius-level coercive control, and it terrifies me. That kind of invisible isolation, being surrounded by people who believe the opposite of what you know to be true. That's the horror that lingers. And with that, on to the next story. I'm a 28M park ranger, and I've encountered something in the woods I cannot explain. I can't look at her. I can't listen to her voice. Sometimes, the horror doesn't announce itself. It starts small, just a wrong feeling. The kind of thing you can't quite explain to anyone else, no matter how you try. I'm David. I've been a ranger at Cascadia Park for 6 years, mostly nights. I walk the trails at midnight, checking equipment. The northern routes get maybe 3 hikers a week through dense old growth. Weeks pass without seeing another person. 3 weeks ago, around 2 a.m., I was 4 miles into Elk Ridge Trail doing perimeter checks. That's when I saw movement ahead, a figure about 30 yards off the trail. Too tall, human-shaped. She wore a blue jacket, just standing in darkness, facing away from me. I called out. Standard procedure. She didn't move, didn't acknowledge anything. I walked closer, maybe 15 feet away. That's when my body started rejecting what I was seeing. My eyes wanted to look at her face, but something deep in my nervous system screamed at me not to. Like every instinct was in revolt. Stomach twisted, hands shaking, sweat on my palms despite the cold. The moment my eyes tried to focus on her face, attempted it, this wave of revulsion washed over me, like being on the verge of vomiting. Not disgust exactly, something more primal. She finally turned her head slowly toward me. I couldn't see her face clearly, my eyes just refused, but I heard her voice. That's when things got worse. And right there, we have the hook. Physical revulsion, voice problems. Everything you need to know that this situation is heading somewhere very dark and very wrong. What started as a single unsettling encounter didn't stay that way. Over the next 3 weeks, I saw her 6 more times. Always on different trails, always that blue jacket. Every time, my body had the same reaction, this instinctive revulsion when I tried to focus on her face. I tried everything. Maybe it was facial blindness or some phobia I'd developed. I started keeping a log. What time? What trail? What direction was she heading? I thought if I documented it, I could find a pattern, some rational explanation. The logs made it worse. I realized I couldn't remember what she said to me, any of them. I remember her mouth moving. I remember that voice, layered, wrong, like 2 people speaking through the same throat. But the actual words? They wouldn't stick. I'd write down, she spoke for 2 minutes, but couldn't recall a single sentence. And here's what terrified me. The harder I tried to remember what she said, the more my head would hurt. Like my brain was physically refusing to process it. I'd get this crawling sensation up my spine and I'd have to stop. Stop writing. Stop thinking about it. By week 3, I wasn't trying to document anymore. I was just trying to survive my shifts. The more he encountered her, the less he understood what was actually happening. By the time he realized what was happening, he was already too far in. The voice phenomenon deepened the horror. It wasn't just that she was wrong to look at, it was the sound that came out of her mouth. The first time I heard her speak clearly was on the North Ridge Trail around midnight. She made a sound, not quite words. It was like 2 voices occupying the same space, one deep and guttural, one high and piercing, both speaking at once but offset. My brain couldn't parse it. I'd stand there trying to focus on what she said, and nothing stuck. Days later, I'd remember fragments, something about staying and watching, but they felt implanted, like I dreamed them. This happened on my next 4 encounters. The voice got stranger, more layers. Sometimes I heard a child's laugh underneath. Other times something metallic, like wind chimes. My ears would ring for hours after. I started forgetting entire shifts. Tuesday blurred into Wednesday. I'd find notes in my ranger log I didn't remember writing. That's when I told Marcus and Steve, veteran rangers, both over 20 years at the park. I expected them to laugh. Instead, they got quiet. Marcus left. Steve stared at his coffee and said, "You need to stop going out there at night." When I asked why, he couldn't tell me. But he knew someone in county who kept old incident files. Then he changed the subject and we never talked about it again. The fear in their eyes stayed with me. They knew something worse than telling the truth. The comments started recognizing the pattern. Did you try recording her with your phone? Even if your eyes can't see her properly, maybe a camera could capture something your perception is blocking. I tried on the fourth encounter. The phone wouldn't focus on her. The video just shows trees and trail, but where she was standing is pixelated, glitched, like the camera was rejecting her too. I still have that file. Each time I watch it, I remember less about what actually happened that night. The memory gets hazier, like it's actively degrading. The way you describe not being able to look at her, that's not a ghost. That's something that exists outside how human eyes are supposed to work. The fact your brain is actively rejecting the data is the scariest part. The 1987 entry is the real story. Find out what happened that year. She didn't just appear. Something triggered her or brought her there. OP came back months later with an update. I found the incident reports from 1987. She's been here a long time. I finally had the courage to ask our director about the personnel archives. At first, he just went silent. Then he called me into his office after hours. Inside a locked cabinet, he pulled out copies of incident reports from 1987. 5 rangers reported encounters in the exact same section of forest. Their descriptions matched mine, word for word. Tall woman in a blue jacket. The feeling of revulsion when trying to focus on her face. One ranger had written, "Audio distortion events." Below all 5 reports was a handwritten note in the director's own writing. No photo matches. No apprehension possible. Recommend limited trail access. Do not investigate. Her presence exceeds 39 years. The date on that note was 1987, so she has been there since at least 1948, maybe longer. These were not hallucinations. This was a documented pattern. But something else scared me worse. I have not been sleeping right. Last week, I realized I cannot remember applying for leave. My supervisor says I requested it 3 weeks ago. I do not have the email. I cannot recall sending it. I am losing time now. Small gaps, 30-minute stretches where my memories go fuzzy. I am terrified I will forget why any of this matters. The comments hit different on this one. The physical aversion response across multiple rangers over 39 years changes everything. This isn't one person's neurology. This is something designed to repel human perception. She's engineered to be impossible to perceive. Yeah, and if cameras glitch on her too, then it's not just human brains being incompatible with her. It's like her entire existence is incompatible with how reality is supposed to work. That's exponentially worse. The memory degradation is worse than the encounters. You said you don't remember applying for leave. That means something is changing how your brain works. That's not ghost stuff, that's active alteration. Weeks pass. The nightmares compound. The follow-up came from a place of pure dread, posted late at night from what OP's timestamp suggests was his apartment. I found the incident reports from 1987. She's been here a long time. I lost my job. I don't remember submitting the leave request, but HR has an email from me dated 3 weeks ago. The signatures match. I don't remember writing it. The daylight sighting started 2 weeks in. Grocery store parking lot. Blue jacket at the edge of my vision in a car window reflection. I spun around, but she was gone. Except not gone. Just not where I could look directly. My apartment is worse. I see her in hallway mirrors, in the corner of my eye when trying to sleep. The blue jacket is always the same. No fading, no wear. Like she exists in a single moment stretched across 40 years. I found the incident reports. 1987. A ranger named David Marsh reported identical encounters. His final entry reads, "She is always here. She has always been here." 3 days later, his permit was revoked. There are 7 more names dating back to 1952. All rangers. All reported the same thing. All quit within months of their sighting. My hands are shaking. I can't focus on any memory involving her voice. My brain refuses. but I know what I need to do. I think I need to go back to the park. I think she's been waiting for someone to understand." The comment section did not hold back. Have you ruled out a neurological condition? Some people have severe aversions to specific visual patterns or frequencies. Get a full neurological workup before jumping to supernatural. The idea that something could be standing 40 feet from you and you'd physically be unable to perceive it, how would anyone even know she's there? This is nightmare fuel. OP never replied to any of them. The post just sat there, the silence heavier than any response could have been. And that is the last story for today.